Welcome to Walking in Victory. This is your host, Sean Moreno, and I'm here with a special guest, Jeffery, Goltiao. But I just want to kind of talk first. Like, for one, I haven't done a video for a while, so like this is really cool for me just to get back with video and YouTube. So watch out for that in the description. But yeah, so I just wanted to talk about dance today and Jeff, and I also want to kind of expand on like my why of like behind the podcast too. So I'm just gonna kind of read you what my why is, just because I feel like people do know for the guests I've had on and what I've talked about. But my friend Christian actually, like, he challenged me a little bit. He's like, what is your why behind the podcast? And so I just want to share that first. And so it's to deeply connect with my guests through their story, and make an impact on the lives of listeners, inspiring to live a life of wholeness, confidence, and also be a shining light in general in their circle of influence. So that's why I have people on. I want people to be inspired and to live in wholeness and confidence, because a lot of people deal with struggles and fear and depression and all these things, and I think people need a word of encouragement. So yeah, all that to say, I want to introduce my guest. This guy's got a resume. He's a pretty accomplished person here, and so he's a 9-time top teacher at Ohio Star Ball, 2014 till present. Featured on So You Think You Can Dance season 11. He's 6 years Ohio State University head coach, the co-organizer of Lincoln Street Salsa from 2015 to 2022. He's got 4 U.S. National Pro-Am titles and 18 World Pro-Am titles. Welcome, Jeffery Goltiao.
Thanks, Sean. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah, and I think, we've gotten to know each other over the past year. I started dancing in April of 2022, like mid and April. And like I would see you around, and you would be teaching at Lincoln Street. And I would be like, man, this guy's really good at like what he does, and he's a very good teacher. But we would say hi like from time to time. But I don't think it was until like your bachata workshop in October of last year where I really got to like start to know you more in your teaching style, because I really became a student of you. And it took my dance to the whole next level as well, that bachata workshop in October. So since then, I just feel like I've been learning from you. I've been hearing your teaching styles and the mindset that you have behind dance. And it's inspired me. It's like, wow, I want to get to know this guy. I want to see how he operates and where he's come from. And so, yeah, I guess just tell me how you got started with dance, and tell me about the point where you knew like this is something that you were going to pursue.
Yeah, it was actually, I want to kind of go with the beginnings. I actually didn't think I was going to be a dance teacher. So I grew up in a very fundamental Christian background where my grandfather was a pastor. All my uncles were deacons, and it was a very high-strung, very disciplined style of teaching. And so at that time, our family, my whole focus was doing work for church. So my life changed when I was younger. And so I said, man, this is something I want to do. I want to give my life to a higher purpose. So I did everything from missions work to playing the guitar, singing in the worship band. And so I had actually a music major. I was a music major in Florida State. And so what started to happen was I would use the scholarship money that I had a scholarship for singing, which I did in church and stuff. But then I started taking dance lessons. And so the dance lessons in the school was paying for it. I'm like, this is really cool. So I started taking ballroom 1, ballroom 2, ballroom 3, ballroom 4. And so what started to happen, I started to love the actual dancing part. Now, it was a collection of just a bunch of things why I made that decision. Like, my brother used to dance too, my grandfather used to dance, so it helped having influences I dated a girl in high school who was a dancer. So when you put all those things together, you're like, let me try it out. But I really fell in love with the dancing. I started putting a lot of time in the dancing. And then what started happening was people were asking me, can you teach me how to dance? And I go, I'm not a teacher. It finally became real because probably when in the middle of, this is where it came real, is around 2008, there was a market crash. And I was like, man, what do I do? And during points of chaos and changes, you just stick to things that you really love doing. So it's, I guess, escaping and just dancing. And so I was linked up with a church called Celebration Church in Jacksonville, very much like Rock City Church. They're same organization, same group. We started a small group, and they said, Jeff, just teach some classes. And then from that, it was a 12-person small group, and we built it up to hundreds of people. Got our own facility, and that's when I go, wow, this Christian organization can still acknowledge what I love, higher power, and then I'm also able to just have fun with it. So that was just a glimpse of something like, wow, this is how I think this could happen. Then I started working for studios, and then I actually saw their business plans, and said, yeah, you could actually make a living out of this. Then fast forward, it just became like, is this where I should go? Because growing up, through the mission work, when we'll talk about Tim Tebow, I was really contemplating, should I go to the mission field? Because I really feel that I was called to do missions work. I really love children. I really love helping kids from other countries, especially in Philippines, because my parents are Filipino. They were there because we had missionaries there. It just gave my dad the fuel and the power and the inertia to really come, because he had just a lot of power with his spirituality to say, I have the confidence to come to the United States. So those missionaries made a huge impact. So we wanted to give back. And how I gave back is like, wow, I really have to give back. I'm so lucky. Out of 90 million Filipinos out there, I have a beautiful opportunity here in the United States. I want to give back my resources. So I was kind of pivoting. Wow, what should I do? And through these times, I was like, God, where should I go? And for some reason, he was telling me, you should do a ballroom career. And growing up, it was weird because you think that the highest calling in life is you want me to be a dance teacher. And so some of the things I think I told you is Jonah, where Jonah, God told him to go to Nineveh, and he's like, no, I'm not going to go. And so I just felt him pushing me to take this direction. I don't know how and why. And I just felt it was so clear. It was just a clear, this is what you got to do. And it was just a combination of just what I felt and how I started to see people's lives getting impacted through ballroom dancing as the exchange, and people coming in as a safe place, and then them taking their spirituality, their lives into a totally different level. And I said, wow, I could change and impact people through this safe way, just a different focus. And so that's how I got into it. And then what happened is, when I decided I wanted to make dancing my career, I said, I want to learn from the best. If I want to do this, I'm starting a little bit late in my career. I want to learn under the best. So there was a gentleman named Sam Sedano. He owns the world's largest pro-am ballroom competition. It's called the Ohio Star Ball. It's televised. If you've probably seen it in PBS, it's called the American Ballroom Challenge. Thousands of the best dancers come here to Columbus, Ohio to compete. And so I said, I want to work for that organizer. So I said, I'm looking for a mentor. I believe if you want to be the best at something, you got to ask the people who've done it. So it's all about who you listen to. So it says, well, if I want to make this the biggest thing that I can, I should mentor under who I believe is the biggest and best organizer in the United States. So very blessed that I had that opportunity for about 7 years, he just mentored me. We'd have lunches, he would talk to me, he would give me all this information. And that was a huge kickstart, where I just said, okay, I'm going to move from Florida, move to Columbus, Ohio, learning about everything about ballroom dancing. So that's it. Had amazing trainers, teachers. And because of that, working with amazing coaches, teachers, and different styles of dancing who had amazing mental, just to you had perseverance, and just learning from all these amazing coaches, business owners, changed my life, and it's where I'm at right now. So that's how I got started.
That's so interesting. I think that you can tell that you've been mentored by some really strong leaders and individuals because you yourself are that way. And so wait, how long have you been in Ohio then?
So I've been in Ohio, February, for about 14 years. Next year
Okay,
it'll be 15.
really?
Hmm.
That's a big change from Florida though. Like
Yeah,
it's
so
warm there. It's not really warm.
I've had the huge triangle. My dad was he was in the military. We worked in Alameda, which is in Oakland area.
Yeah.
Lived there for about 10 years, and then
Oh,
moved
really?
to Florida for about 15 years. And then now I'm here. So when I turn 40 is when I've been here for 15, and I'm truly been in Columbus for more than.
If whoever's watching on YouTube, you would never guess this guy's 40. By the way, he's in shape. He looks good, and it's dancing and all that.
It's all the
it's good for your health
and
man.
rice. So yeah, eat lots of rice.
No, that's awesome. Yeah. So thank you. That's amazing. And so before you came to Columbus, you were in Florida, and yeah, I mean, I feel like Tim Tebow is he's just this character, man, that's so influential and so well known around the world. And he's made an impact on my life through A Night to Shine, his organization with prom night for special needs kids. And dancing is involved in that, you know? And so down in Florida, you said Jacksonville too. What was your relationship like with Tim Tebow, and how did you get to know him? And then how did you like teach him to dance and all these things?
Oh, that was funny. So Tim Tebow, his father is Bob Tebow. He has he has a missions group called the Bob Tebow Evangelistic Association, and what he does is he takes hundreds of students and adults to the Philippines, and so that struck a chord in our family because there was missions, and so Tim's sister Christy Tebow went to one of our churches, and she gave kind of like the work that she was doing in Philippines. My dad was there, and he was like, Jeff, you have to see this group. My dad was passionate about missions in Philippines, and so I met the family. I met the family when Tim was only like 13 years old, and it was crazy. He was 13 years old. And he was already benching like 315, like pressing 1,000 pounds, and he was huge. And the first time I met him, so it was really, I knew the whole family. I met Christy first, the dad, and when I was about 15, 16 is when I started yearly going to the Philippines. I would go probably like 7 to 8 times in a row. And for the summertime, I would just be a missionary with students, and we would just go to hospitals, schools, and we would just share our experiences, just making impact with the kids, having fun with them, doing a lot of different ministry work with them. And so that's how it got started. And then I remember during when we would do evangelistic tours around schools at night, a bunch of the groups would come together. We would like sneak in like one of the kitchens, and we would do East Coast swing. Really? And you had some of like these future football players, big guys who didn't even have the success that they are now, flipping these girls high up. And so that's my first experiences, because even then, even though we were doing mission works, they knew that I loved dancing. So they're like, Jeff, teach us how to dance. Teach us how to dance. So we had underground dance lessons during a mission trip.
What a story.
Tim, as well as his brothers and stuff like that. So that's my experiences with him, and just experiences were even being around him and his family, his dad, sister. It's not just him, it's the family and the organization and the reach that they do. So yeah, my thing is, if you're ever interested in a powerhouse of a family, it's the Bob Tebow Evangelistic Association. That's what really changed my life, to give to missions. And so that's my experiences of dancing and also doing mission work, which is going to kind of segue to the future of where I'm at now. Because those are
Sure.
two different passions that I love doing.
Wow. Yeah. So do you ever still see them or like talk to?
No,
Okay.
now it's, he's married and uh he's a superstar. And
Yeah.
so right now it's I have my business. I'm here in Ohio.
We're all busy.
We're all busy, and so he has his family and he has his organizations and stuff like
Sure.
that. But yeah, when it comes to the family, whenever we do mission work, when I do plan to go back to the Philippines, it's through the organization who I'd love to support.
That's that's amazing. I didn't know that. Like, I think I've talked to you a little bit about that, but like to know, like, I love that story of just like at night sneaking in the kitchen, like being able to do dance and like,
Yeah.
that's so fun. That's just so fun. But it started as fun, but then you took it more serious and you became a competitor, just as Tim is a competitor. And you've won. Obviously, I went through your resume. You've won some national and world pro-am titles and things. And so, as a high level dancer and competitor, what did you learn from the competition of dancing?
A lot of individual ownership of your own life. Because ballroom, you have another partner. My whole focus was being the best that I could be and changing everything that I could, that I knew that I could take personal ownership of. So, for example, my diet, changing my diet and have it clean, from individual physical practice and fitness to mental. There's so much mental games, reading books about mental perseverance, there's so many different pillars of your life that needs to be balanced, from financial, not making sure I'm working hard to save up for coaching, and just being a steward of not just one thing, but in all things. And so that journey of working on my life, working on different changes from how we were born and brought up, and saying, I need to work on this part of my life. I need to work on this part. So every year saying, okay, I really need to work on flexibility. Going to yoga classes. Okay, this year I need to start doing like cardiovascular. Okay, Orange Theory. Okay, this year my focus is going to be on financial freedom. So listening to a Christian Dave Ramsey course and like really saving. Okay, this time I really want to focus on my spiritual part, my spiritual walk. Okay, this time I want to really focus on giving back to the community. So what I do is every year strengthen like a muscle, right? We have your biceps, just working on biceps, cool. Working on legs, working on calves, and then putting your whole mind, body, spirit into balance. And what I think sometimes people just focus on one or two, but really, really being open and working on your whole self. So how I got into competitions is working on everything. Yeah. It's huge. People think that, sports, it's training, but then you see these news where some of these people needs to take off for personal reasons. Yeah. Or you see people in they're professionals, but they forget to do off training stuff. Or you see professionals where something with the family goes wrong, they can't perform. So how to put your mind in life is going to happen. Life is going to be hard. It's rough. The world you're going to experience, and being ready for anything. And so how to mentally get your mind ready physically, mentally, physically for anything to happen. And so it's just training in so many different levels.
See, that's the thing. Like, I've noticed when I've done similar things, it shows up in my dance. I was even talking to a friend about, like, there's some ladies I dance with that I can tell that there's tension. Like when I try to churn them, maybe they're holding on to something internally that they're not as open, or they're not as trusting and willing to let themselves be led, for example. And just having the confidence too of like dancing and going up to somebody and asking to dance. All these things, like, you work on all these different aspects outside of dance too, reading, getting up in the morning, working out, taking care of your sleep schedule, your diet. All, like, people, yeah, like you said, people don't think about that. They think about, how can I be a better dancer? How can I do these specific moves? Rather, it's like, well, how do you take care of your life outside of dance? That will show up in dance. And so I really love
everything.
Yeah.
Like, for example, if you're in debt,
Mm.
then you're not thinking about the dance. You're thinking about the financial part of it, right? If you're
Yeah.
thinking about a relationship, you can't be present in your work because you're thinking about the relationship. So how can you be present in every? And then once you are cleared, or once you've healed from that, whatever term you want to use, then you could do anything and everything within pure ambition and freedom, because you're really working on that. And that is the hardest level of success to ever reach, is to take ownership, not to blame other people, not to say, not to look at anybody else, but to always look at your own life and say, where do I need work? Whether you want to say, God, reveal it to me, or you just take an account and saying, wow, I don't have anything in my bank account. Well, that's just a cause of saying, if I want something in my life to change, I have to change things in my life. So I have to change something. I can't blame anything else. I have to point myself and saying, I need to do something financially. I'm sick. I am always sick. Well, what do I need to do to build my immunity up?
Absolutely.
Okay, what I'm hearing a lot right now is like, I can't do that, because so many people are saying, well, because of this, because of that. I like to say, like cards, we all get our dealt. We are dealt our life. And what we have to do is saying, this is how it is. This is my strengths. This is my weakness. Not to make it disempowered, but to say, how can I be the best version of me? And to compete against not yourself, not others, to see how I can be the best. How can I heal? A lot of it is healing. How can I also, I think was really important, put the right people, whether it's mentors, whether it's business. They say, if you want to get the average of your income, go look at your average of your 5 best friends. Whether it's where your growth is in the finances or in the mental, right? If all your friends are depressed, well, you may want to change your friends if you're working on depression, or if you're working on something that's really heavy. So, and it takes a lot, because misery's company. Sometimes it's fun to hang out with that because it feels good, but it's not really going to allow you to live the highest level of your being, your calling, whatever word you want to call it. And so,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's so much ownership, self-reflection that one would have to do to really work on themselves. So, yeah, going counseling, therapy, and just saying, you know what? We are so damaged just coming into this earth, whether you want to call it through sin, or whether you want to call it just because of our parents' upbringing, whatever modality you want to use, we are just broken and hurt people. And we have to heal. And the investment in ourselves to do that, there's so much resources in YouTube now. There's so many resources of people, free resources where you can get that help. And the work and the investment I have done on constantly working on myself, whether it's coaches, performance coaches, technical performances, financial responsibility, emotional responsibility. There are specialties for whatever you're dealing with, and everybody is different. And everybody will have whatever it is, but really searching out for really deepening what you need at that point. Because sometimes it might be different for me right now. Right now, I'm working on the things I need to work on. Next year, it'll be something different. And I can't tell you work on this because this is what I need right now. Yeah. So.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think it's scary for people to do that, though, because they have to look themselves in the mirror.
Yes.
And when you do that, you're saying, no, I am flawed, and I'm looking at the worst parts of myself. And that's why people don't, because it takes work, and it is scary to address things that you need healed from. And so I think it's important to be able to willingly face what you are weak at, or what you know you need to work on, and then attack it head on, whatever that takes. So that's amazing. That's great to say that. And I think it's something to reflect on. We have to take ownership and responsibility, not make excuses. And to be honest with you, that's true freedom, is to be able to take ownership and say, well, if I can take ownership for this, that means I could also fix it. And to me, that's freedom.
It's more power. It's more powerful. And the reason why I like doing it now is because I have the confidence. And at first, it's like it's easier. I'll use examples because it's easier to start from examples that maybe the whole audience could. If you haven't gone to the gym in a long time and you start again, that first 2 weeks is hard and it's painful. It's you'll start throwing up. Even if you say, I don't need physical, I need a cleanse. And you say, I need to do a water cleanse and just drink water. Like what Jesus did. I'll just do a water cleanse. Or I did a juice cleanse. Or I need to do something to clear all this toxic and all this pollutants in my body, in my mind, and just starve the toxins in my body. The first 3 days is painful. Whether you go to the gym, whether you do any type of change, it is painful. But it is clearing and cleansing the body. And so there's so many different ways. You'll know what you need to do, whether it's a colonic cleanse or whether it's a mental cleanse, whether it's just saying Facebook cleanse, let me just not go on Facebook, let me just, whatever it is, coffee cleanse. If there's something where you're just so into it, when you take away from it, people don't want to take away with what is comfortable because it's hard. And I challenge you, if there's something that you know that you're doing and people say, I can never do that. What if your life, I always put this, what if your life was dependent upon that change? What if that'll give you an extra life? So what if that'll give you an extra week? How important was it? Then we have to wait until it's too late. And there's a lot of unfortunate situations with cancer or with other things. And just live like today's your last day in your life, and to say, I'm going to live the best that I can now. And so I'm going to make the changes. And as you do that, you're going to notice like the pain and it's not pain, the uncomfortable situations and all these different things keep adding up where you're like, man, I'm glad I did that. Next one. And so now I search to really challenge and feel uncomfortable, because at the end of it, you feel better. So that means I place myself in so many uncomfortable situations. Not uncomfortable like, hey, let's go out, let's get drunk, and I'm going to go place myself and go in Broad Street. That's uncomfortable. Not that type of uncomfortable, but the actual uncomfortable of, let's go to the gym. Let's wake up early and let's go to the gym. That physical uncomfortable. Let me not eat any sugar. I'm going to take away any fast food this week. That's uncomfortable. We're talking about those types of uncomfortable. You know what? I'm going to cut up all my credit cards. I had to do that one time. I'm going to no credit cards. I have to do everything in cash. That's uncomfortable. We're talking about the uncomfortabilities of taking away what we are so used to as a United States culture, where it's instantaneously, and take it out. So taking out whatever you guys or whatever you know what you need to do. And everybody knows what they need to do. This is what's easy. Everybody knows, but they choose not to because they choose to rather be comfortable. But it's comfortable now, but it's going to be hurting you in the long run. Massively. Like little decisions say, oh, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. But when you are seriously making yourself, it's not that bad, then you make every little excuse to it's not that bad. Then you're putting yourself in a spiral position where you're just hurting yourself because, oh, it's not bad, not bad. And we have these things. No, it's not. And I don't like saying bad or good, evil, or what I like to say is putting harm to yourself. That is it really the best version of myself? Is it really going to bring value to other things in my life? Yeah.
And you've done that throughout your life. And you can look probably back 10 years ago and look at yourself now. You could probably look back to a year ago or 2 years ago and say, today, I'm a stronger version of myself than last year because I've constantly made myself uncomfortable in a good way, in a non-harmful way. And I see the benefits of that. And a couple of years ago, and now, what have you learned from being able to put yourself in willful, uncomfortable situations? You can see yourself now. And that's how you build confidence. That's how you build a strong foundation. And now, because you're strong, the people around you benefit from that. And now you have this space to invite people in when you first opened this place, what was it 352 people came in here
Yeah.
on opening night?
Tons of people. Yeah.
And that probably blows your mind, because this is like a dream almost being lived out now in reality. You've worked your way up. You've gone through the competitions. Now you have this awesome, amazing studio, and you run it so excellent as well.
Thank you.
To the parking team, to the greeting coming in, to even the bar, all 100% proceeds go to the organization that you want to for children, right? Yes. What's like special needs or whatever.
Yeah.
And you've built this place, and it's almost like a safe space. People feel safe to come here and to socialize and to dance and to get to know people. As the owner of this studio of Dance Edge or Grandview Salsa here in Columbus, what is like your dreams and visions now for this place, since you're starting to see, man, we just begun.
Yeah, we just begun.
Yeah.
So there's then once you start thinking about this is crazy, it's then what? So the next thing is keep stretching, It's how to go back into what brought me here. It's helping kids with disabilities. It's helping kids who can't financially do it through arts. So what we do is, I've been very fortunate to work so hard and have skills and talent through Dance Edge. What's beautiful about Grandview Salsa is 100% of the door sales and the bar goes straight to charity. I don't take anything from that. That we just donate all of that. And so why? Because the whole thing is the legacy of what I've created. How can this continue to happen if I'm not here? That lives will be changed, that people will have a safe environment, that kids can heal through the arts. So on Mondays we have free art classes where and we get good. We're talking about not cheap, create like things from the dollar store, but we get good canvases and artworks, and we have free art classes, and then we have kids with special needs where we have adaptive classes. And I'd love to have that continue to develop and grow, where the community is saying, let's put money into this, where it's helping our communities grow. Then I know because of pandemic, it was hard to come to the Philippines, but creating this outreach also beyond the walls. So we're making a difference within Columbus, within the communities and outreaches, going into different places around the community, teaching dancing. And if they want to go deeper, coming to our community, using all these skills that we know, individually coaching them for how they need help, whether it's financial help, entertainment, coaching, mental coaching, whatever. We have those facilities intact. And then we have our next mission, which is the 1040 mission, where we go to different places, underdeveloped countries, and we are doing what we're doing with these young kids for free. So that is what we want to do is we're using dance as the model to help fun, and people are dancing and having fun. And then as we go deeper and level deeper into that, we build this relationship to really say, tell me what you're doing. How can we help you? How can we help your community? And so that's the biggest outreach that we can do, is that if I'm not here, that it doesn't take Jeff, that we are constantly being a steward of our money, saving, purchasing a building, paying it off, so that when I'm not here, this will always happen and make that imprint.
That's awesome. That's amazing. Yeah, it's bigger than dance. There's a why behind what you do. Mm-hmm. And that's amazing, man. I didn't know. See, that's why I'm talking to you, because I didn't know all these things about. I had general ideas, but you said healing through dance, and I feel like that is what dance has done for me. Like the Lord has healed me through dancing, because when I first started, I didn't know what I was doing, and I felt silly trying to lead someone when you don't know what you're doing. Like it's tough, and but being able to just to continue to come back anyway and say, yeah, I might not know what I'm doing, but I know the basic. And I'm going to do the basic really well. And then I'm going to learn one thing and try and make that my intention tonight, to learn that one thing, to practice. And a lot of people are gracious, with that. And I think that's the thing about dance that I've learned from you the most, actually, is how can I honor the person that's in front of me? And when you start thinking that way, your dancing starts to flow on a different type of level because you're not thinking, oh, I have to dance with this person again. Like, oh, I don't really want to. I sometimes, because of your lesson teaching, like sometimes I'll seek people out and that's been sitting on the sideline for a long time, and I'll purposely dance for them with them. And you talk about, you've danced with different ages, different sizes, different races, and your mindset is, I want to honor this person in front of me. And that's when you have the right mindset behind dance, then everything flows more natural and the other person you're dancing with feels it. Right. And so, yeah, I have a list of like different things that I've learned from dancing, and you could also apply to life. Yeah. And I'm going to hit on a couple, and I just want you to expand on what you've learned through this. So like,
give me the list. Yeah. Let me know.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Let me know which ones and I'll tell you.
Yeah, these are good. Intention, respect, honor, clear communication, leadership, gentleness, vulnerability, intimacy, trust, joy, confidence, community, and love.
Right. I want to start with the respect and honor. So what we do is with our young adult classes, we use a lot of things where we use a lot of different examples from other dances. So we have the Viennese waltz, right? Viennese waltz was originated in Vienna. It's one of the most classy, even now when a young lady turns 16, there's debutante balls. And even now there's big, massive balls where the young lady practices a long time for these. Mm-hmm. Gentlemen dress up in tuxedos, tails, they have to wear gloves. Ladies get ready for this event. And something that they do before they even dance, it's called the curtsy and bow. The ladies are acknowledged as a woman. The gentleman, within respect and posture, elevate. He bows his head at at an angle to honor and respect her. That in itself changes the way we see the person in front of us. And in a place of TikTok and respect and honor and how women are treated, to slowly go back into the origin of respect and honor, we are changing the way we see it. And so when young guys will do that, for some reason, they start opening the door for the lady because there's something in their mind that knows, but they need to do traditional gestures that bring out life, that bring out what we were called to do. We were called as men to respect other ladies and ladies to feel empowered and acknowledged. And we've lost it maybe because we sometimes we forgot to shake each other's hand because we're so we're looking around, and when we shake each other's hand, we don't look at each other. But this is a really great example to acknowledge, to look, to do such a powerful gesture of bowing. Let's talk about bowing. In China, over 1 billion people do it as a sign of respect for the elderly. That's 1 billion people. In India, they do that as a sign of respect to their higher power. We bow as a sign of respect for any being, whether it's the higher power, your spiritual being, or whether it's to people. We do that to say, I honor you, I respect you, and you deserve it. And even if they don't, even in Philippines, we do that when we take the hand and we get some, like our elderly, and we put it on their forehead. We take their hand, put it on. It's signs and gestures of saying, you're my grandfather or you're somebody, and I respect you for your age and what you've had. And just that in itself changes the perspective of when we dance or when we do that. There are constant gestures. And I love the ballroom model. Sean and I are going to be talking about a lot of dancing because there's beautiful ways we respect or trust people through these different dances that are from all different parts of the world. And we're taking things from Cuba. We're taking things, beautiful stories from Argentina, from Argentine tango. And we're creating what they've done to change a culture or change an individual by gestures or movements through dance, and how it changes the culture of the communities we do by just that one gesture of curtsy and bowing, and what that does and how it changes the next minute of their life and how it's changing the young people. And that's just curtsy and bowing. There's so many other different techniques. So hopefully that helps. That type of thing where we teach it, they do it, and out of nowhere, they're changing their whole way they respect women. And don't we need that right now?
Oh, we need it.
We need it.
Big time.
So that's an example of...
Sure. Well, even like what you've talked about recently of like just how you are in sync with the lady as you extend your hand and you walk out onto the floor with each other and you set up and you breathe and then you connect and then you start. It's not, let's rush to the dance and let's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's respecting and the start.
It's the start. And we're even talking about, or I now owning a studio and I have a lot of different teachers come in and out. Everybody's so fast. Everybody lives such a fast pace because of time. And we use these in dance techniques where before you start, take a deep breath, acknowledge where you're at in your life. Am I feeling tired? Am I feeling sick? Then from there, generate and being thankful. I'm so thankful I have this body, because when you're in a place of thankfulness, we're not thinking about the bad stuff. We're thinking about how great our lives are. Then from there, we feel empowered and acknowledged. We can now give 100% to the person in front of us. So what I'm saying is things take time. And in this generation where we're so got to do this, I would also say to be powerful means to take your time. I'll give you an example. People want to go. There's an example about it was a axe tree contest. I don't know the words right now, how to say it correctly. But there was 2 guys. They had to get axes, and they had a competition. Whoever could cut down the sequoia tree the fastest. So they said, on your mark, get set, go. One guy started running and just started hacking away, while the other guy was sitting down for 15 minutes. 15 minutes later, the guy stood up and just hacked it in about 4 chops. So the interview happened, and they said, what were you doing? How did you do that? It was remarkable. The guy was just putting so much effort. And he said, I was sharpening my axe. I just sharpened my axe. And I think so many times we move so fast without actually thinking. And the challenge is, before you act, really think. Think about it. Think about all different avenues and say, how can I really make sure? Rather than saying and having an idea. I have an idea, and people work on the idea. I got to do my idea, then it falls. So that you're really thinking about it to the point where it's going to help you in your business. It's going to help you with your dancing. I just like using the dance analogy to really think about it. People embody it, and they're able to heal from it, then put it on their life. So a lot of this, when we're talking about dance, we're using it how our clients, our students, they're taking it, embodying it, and saying, I have the confidence. That actually worked in dance. I could actually use that model into life. And so I think that's what I'm trying to think, like that, taking your time, taking a deep breath, working on yourself.
Absolutely.
Healing yourself, and then you could give.
Yeah.
Dancing is interesting because there's 3 different directions that we have that we will use towards in life. There's myself, there's your partner that you're going to be dancing with, and then there's also the audience, right? So for me, I have myself, I have in an organization, there's the managers, workers, and then there's the actual clients. So most importantly, we have to be strong with ourselves. After you feel strong, you could then give. Then after you give to the company organization, then you could give beyond the walls. Sometimes people act so fast they give beyond the walls, but they're not strong on themselves, or they haven't communicated within the organization what they're trying to do. Same thing if you want to use these terms in spiritual realms, or if you want to use that into dance terms, it's the same model. And you use that model and saying, I'm going to take my time. I'm going to work on me first. I'm going to take care of me. Then when I could take care of me, I could work on my extended family. Then after that, I could work, and not doing it the other way around. People find it selfish. But we also talk about, like in an airplane, they say if there's a lack of oxygen, you got to put your oxygen on yourself first. It is not selfish to take, because then you are not able to help other people. Then if you're gone, you both are gone. You both won't have oxygen. So it's learning. A lot of people think, well, it's better to give to receive, but it's better to really think about it. How you can give powerfully beyond like a momentarily give, but to say, you know what, I'm going to give, but I'm going to give generational wealth. How can I think of not just giving somebody $10, but what if I could store up money and I can create an account that is through interest residually giving towards a company organization for the rest of my life? Like the Hershey brand. The gentleman ended. He has a nonprofit, millions and millions of dollars, and it's constantly giving back to the community. And he's not even there anymore. How can we think that? People can't think that way because we're still thinking about myself. We can't even get there because that's not even a possibility. We got to take the baby steps first. We got to heal. We got to make sure all those little things in our life that we all know that we need to take care of is taken care of. And don't take those little things so lightly. Like, I'll just do another soda. It's not going to kill me. It's just little things. I'm not judging the soda drinker. I'm not judging whatever habit, whatever you know you need to do, that's what you need to do. Because that is the choice of saying, wow, I need to be successful in one and another one. Sometimes it's this idea of an elephant. If you want to eat an elephant, take one bite at a time. I don't eat elephants, but it's just the idea. It's too big. And don't think it's the big audacious plan. But by doing the little things gives you the confidence to go bigger and bigger. It's like weights. First time I go to the gym, I'll do 5 pounds. Cool. Next time, 10 pounds, 20 pounds. We have to develop the strength physically, mentally, emotionally within the whole body.
Yeah. It's almost like I was thinking, like, if I had a clear glass of water and I put 1 drop of poison in it, would I still drink it? Like, no. And that's what you're saying. Like we overlook like these little habits that we have. Like it's not that big of a deal, but if you add it up, it will actually take you out eventually.
Yeah.
And we want to eliminate the habits that are not building us up and replace them with something that will. So, no, I really love that.
Yeah.
What about clear communication in dance and how you've learned that?
Whew. Man. So in communication, dance is unreal because we are communicating with the partner non-verbally. So we talk to them without even saying a word. So we're talking about in a time where communication within companies, organizations, within relationships, within your kids is hard enough. How do we set something where we have to talk to somebody without talking? It's crazy, right? So we have to develop skills of how to communicate visually, how to communicate with our hands, how to communicate with we have to use as many skills as we can. It's actually beautiful. As I travel around doing competitions or scouting talent or going to these different competitions to see how I could improve my business, I've had so many different experiences where I've danced with so many different ladies with no arms. And how can I communicate if I cannot do the traditional way of holding? So communication says that there's no right or wrong, that it is constantly different, and how we adjust. Every situation is adjusting based upon their personality, based upon their type. So I'm going to go into something that's really helped me on communication. So I do a lot of training, like personality traits. So for you to communicate with somebody, you have to understand how they learn. So what's really got me successful is personality. There's a lot of personality traits like Myers-Briggs. There's um, Enneagrams. There's so many cool things that talk about personality. I don't use whatever. If you want to use birthdays, I've seen some really fascinating, fun things that I take with students. I go, when's your birthday? Oh, cool. And I do so many different fun things for young kids that my young adults, that's just fun and just seeing how they learn. And so a great way of communicating, we've seen it from the five love languages. There's so many different books of understanding people. So if you really want to communicate, you have to understand the person and the type of person they are and how they're motivated. So I'm also a behavior analysis. I've been certified under DISC. DISC is what they do for job hiring. So DISC, there's 4 letters. There's D, a dominant personality. I is an influencer. There's S, that's somebody who's really steady. And there's somebody who's really compliant. So how I would treat somebody who is dominant, somebody who's pioneering, direct, is somebody I would talk to them different based upon somebody who is compliant. So it's learning different personalities to communicate. How I dance with somebody who's compliant is totally different how I would dance with somebody who is direct and fire and passionate. So how I communicate in a business or company organization is totally different. How I would dance. So we are having to evolve, and the skill of a communicator has to be that aware of that person, about their needs, about what their goals are, and then how you can communicate them, whether it's through dance or whether it's through goals or whether it's through life. And that's the key of actually communication, is understanding and also what drives them. So that's just who they are. There's other deeper levels of what motivates somebody. When I work privately with clients, I actually find out what motivates them. Is what motivates you being the best competitor? Is what motivates you the beauty and the harmony, the balance of life? So if somebody loves music, or somebody likes dressing up, or I'm not going to tell them, let's go, let's compete, let's go, because that they don't motivate to that. So as long as we're motivated into what their goals are, and then based upon my experience, I give my professional recommendation for that, and it's not my agenda. You tell me what you want. I give the client what they want, but it's not like sometimes giving somebody what they want isn't good. Like if a kid yells, "Mom, I want candy." Okay, it's not that type of giving. You don't give them what they want. You still are hearing them. You still have your professional recommendation based upon your skill, your talent, and just basic essentials. And then you are doing it based upon their personality, based upon what drives them, and based upon your knowledge and expertise. Then the student or the team member knows that you're really listening to them, and you know that you are giving, and that's value. Then value turns into trust, or turns into monetary gain. It just depends, because it's not your agenda. It's being able to not cookie cutter every individual, but making a true specific individual plan for that person and how they learn, how they respond. And that's what has made me make a lot of US champion students, because I listen to, are they technical dancers? Are they artistic dancers? And really communicating how they learn, listen, and bringing out the best in everyone. Now, here's the thing. Everybody's amazing. Everyone is truly special. You just need that coach to bring that out of you, and how you learn, and that's another thing. Everyone's different. I love sports history. Sports history is the coolest.
Oh, we can talk then.
Sports history is just fascinating. Of boxers where they said you would never be able to box because your hands are broken, and then they're able to win championships because of their hands being so busted up that it has created calluses that they felt nothing and they were able to be world champions. It's story after story that how to use your past for your strength, how to say I'm healed. You know, we all have daddy mommy issues. When I finally realized I am so thankful for my dad. I used to hate my dad because we all did. We all don't either like our parent for whatever reason. We need to heal. When I finally healed from those types of things like that, those were the types of moments where you really get to like explore self and explore who you really are and really, really with abandonment and freedom, truly make a difference of who you are and how you are and the specialty of like how you can make impact. Living in that life of pure like passion, healing is amazing. Not a lot of people can tap into it because it takes so much work and dedication. But to finally do that and to live life with everything, financial freedom, freedom of emotions, spiritual freedom, physical freedom is, you know, people, you'll hear podcasts, just work on the spiritual freedom. Just work on financial. It is everything. Whether you want to call it God or whether yourself, to have everything, you can literally have everything in your life. I really believe it. Everything. Because, and it's so much changing of your mind. One of the biggest things is if you want things in your life to change, you have to change things in your life. You have to change it. You're not going to just think that it's going to automatically appear if you do not change. And that's the hardest thing, I think, one person to go through. It's worth it in the other side.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What I was taking away from like what you were saying is just like you're meeting the other person where they're at.
Oh, yeah.
So that you can communicate with them well. And that's, you know, maybe people don't know, or listeners don't know exactly, they're not dancers or whatever, but how it works is, you know, there's leaders and followers, and usually the man leads and the woman follows. And I know for me as a leader, being able to put myself in the follower's shoes has made me a better leader, because I'm not just thinking about me and how can I do this move or how can I whatever. It's, well, what would make her understand what I'm trying to do better? How can I cue without saying anything in a specific way?
It's beautiful. Yeah, I like that.
And they would know. Like if I was them and the leader did this, I would know to turn this way, right? And so to me, that's been beautiful, of learning how to put myself in the follower's shoes. Helps me become a better leader and communicator.
It is. Now, Sean, what you're working now is learning how to follow. And this is the thing about leading and following. There's always transitions. Even a mother, there's a time when she has to lead her children, but there's sometimes she has to follow if she's working for a company. So we are constantly adapting based upon where we're at. And the most powerful dancers or the most powerful business owners understand relationships, understand when it is a time to lead and follow, and understanding both. That's a really, really beautiful thing that you said, because leading and following isn't just this old school, I lead, you follow. It's this teamwork of communication and timing of when we should lead and when I should follow, when you should be and when I should be. Learning out, this is my strength. Oh, you're a turner? You turn fast. Okay, cool. I'm good at this. I'm going to do it here. Cool. Within family? Cool. I'm good at cooking. You're good with handling the kids. I'll do that now. And really working on that, not saying this is what you should do, but really communicating on, in all aspects of life, where the strengths are, who's the best at what, and constantly learning how to be better in those skills. But yeah, I like that idea of leading and following, because it's so, yeah, it's these stories of dancing. I love putting it together. I like how people, if you haven't danced it, you guys should dance. You should definitely dance ballroom dancing. Absolutely.
Yeah, it'll stretch you and it'll teach you so many lessons, and it's just a beautiful thing. And when you see a strong leader dance with a strong follower, you see harmony. And that's the beauty, is the harmony that you see when both people are basically putting themselves in the other person's shoes. Because the follower also has to think, well, how can I help him as a leader by being more flexible, by looking into his eyes, whatever that might look like. And so dance is a beautiful thing. And it's funny because, like, I've always liked dance. And in middle school, I used to do like the pop lock and stuff, and like, danced to a lot of hip hop and R&B stuff. And I really enjoyed it in middle school. And I used to be a big guy on like going to the prom and going to homecoming and all those things. And as I got older, I just kind of got away from those things. I wasn't in school anymore. And I've always appreciated dance. And so I was always hesitant to get back into it. But like, as my friends encouraged me to come out, I didn't say yes right away, but finally I said, I'm going to try this and see how it goes. And I remember I went for the first time, and it was very difficult and stretched me, but I knew that this was special. Just the concept of leading, following, and dancing and practice. I always say I love to practice vulnerability with an intimacy, because that's what you do in a respectful way. And so, yeah, what's one thing that you've learned through like vulnerability and intimacy with dancing as well?
Um, Now it's communication within my relationships, is how to be clear within of my final piece is the relational piece. So working on how to communicate clear even better and better based upon, like I said, the different personality types, and communicate not for like literally what is the clearest intention and for individual, because as I've experienced in dancing, how can I be clear and clear and clear clear, because within customers and clients and my relationships with students, when they're 10, they learn differently. I have to be so clear for that person so that there's no, or with my parents, that relationship with my parents, I have to be so different knowing how our past is and how I need to communicate towards my dad or towards my mom. I have to see it with, a partner. I have to see the clarity that I have to do. So everyone is different, but the clarity has to be super, super clear and clear and clear and clear. Yeah.
A couple things like I've learned too, because there's a lot of barriers you have to get past through dance, and I can list off a couple: is shyness, or a lack of confidence, or shame, fear of failure, or exposure or rejection. All these things you kind of have to face in dance, because you are putting yourself in a vulnerable position to, hey, here I am face to face with you, and I'm going to lead you. And you have to go up to somebody and say, hey, would you like to dance? And so for me personally, I've been able to get past those fears through the power and beauty of dance. And man, I've also been able to invite people in, like, you need to try this out. And I've had some people be like, I had a friend one time, he's like, you know what? Thank you so much for inviting me to dance the other night, because to me, that was like a life-changing night, because I got to really stretch myself and put myself out there in a way that was honorable and challenging. And so, yeah, there's so much we can keep going on
It's a
and on. But
beautiful
yeah.
space, and
Yeah.
many of you probably have been to a studio, but what's different about what Sean is experiencing is what we create within the back ends, from the teams, the infrastructure. So I definitely would love to invite you to come to Grandview Salsa's classes. It's what he's experiencing is something just years and years of, 20 years of just teaching and that we've put together. So thank you for sharing that. And it's a great place to have community, a great fun place that, back in the day, people were like, oh, let's go to a distillery, or there's not any fun, active things right now. This is a beautiful bridge of community, fun, safe, enjoyable, where we could bring, and it's great. You could bring people that you've never done it before. It's great because we have that basic beginning newcomer dance class, which we have hundreds of people who join, and people are having fun. And then after that, later on, you could see some of the best dancers in Ohio to the Midwest dancing, and so you could sit down and just watch. And so it's a really unique experience that not a lot of people have really experienced. And it's beautiful to just bring in friends, to have a date night. If you want a date night, if you want
Tacos.
tacos, we have food trucks. There's so many different rooms just to be a part of seeing what the world is doing. You can see African dances. You can see Brazilian dances. You can see Cuban dances, American dances like the swing, hustle. And to see this community and see when you see the communities, you see all different walks of life, all different ages coming together. It's pretty much what you're going to see in heaven, right? You'll see every race, every tongue having fun. You see a really good party. And I don't mean to sound sacrilegious, but all we know is when we read scripture, we see what we have in our head. That's all we have because we don't know. But it's the closest thing of like people celebrating, people smiling, enjoying fun, communicating in a safe place is the only thing that I could think of. I have not seen this type of communities like this. Like I've never seen it. Have like so many different people who speak different languages, yet they can talk to each other because dancing, ballroom or partner dancing is an international. If I go to China or if I go to Russia, it doesn't matter where I go. We can communicate non-verbally with somebody.
It's a language.
It's a different language of non-verbal communication with music and with a partner that it's beautiful. And to see people coming together, dancing and having fun, rejoicing, all these different words of just entertainment, safe and respect. It is something special that I look forward to.
Yeah.
The weekends.
Well, since you're talking about it, I mean, people listening to this, like if they want to come out to Grandview Salsa, how often does that happen? What's your address? What's your website?
So go to grandviewsalsa.com is going to be our website for that. Right now, we are doing it the second and fourth Saturdays. However, go to online.
Or Fridays.
I'm sorry. Yes. Every second and fourth Friday.
Yes.
There's a group class from 8:30 to 9:30. Basic beginner. If you've never done it, it's great. We only do 1 or 2 steps. It's really about meeting the community and having fun and having jokes and stuff. And then after that, from 9:30, we're all the way here till 2 a.m. We have 3 different rooms where you could see different styles of dancing. It's beautiful. And also for other like outreaches, all that money goes to Dance Unite. That's danceunite.org. That's our nonprofit where we give it all back to the kids. And then during the day, I teach. All this is my company is Dance Edge. That's where we teach wedding couples or competitive dancers. You could go to mydanceedge.com for that. So you could reach me in any of those platforms through those websites. It's probably the best one. And say I heard the podcasts. And if you do, I heard Sean's podcasts, then we will give you a free entry on a Friday night. So just say, I heard this podcast. At the end of it, email Amber. Amber is our manager.
Yeah, but what's the email? Info at Dance Edge? I'll put it in.
She'll put it all in the description of all the different things for that free dance class. If you've never done it and you actually do the action, you'll get a free cover for you. And so you get to check it out. So is there anything else?
Thank you for blessing me. That's amazing just to know that the podcast has an impact to make people come in for free. That's
absolutely
awesome.
If you listen to the whole podcast and you hear that tail end, he's not going to tell any friends, hey, listen to that last part of the podcast. But if you really listen to all of this and you got value and say, you know what, I want to try this out. This is really resonating to me. Would love for you to come out on a Friday night. And also it's going to be every other Friday. So there's going to be times in June where there's like 5 Fridays, and our end result goal is we are going to be doing it every Friday. But right now we're just getting all the infrastructure ready. We're working on our team. But right now we're really excited.
Dancing outside and stuff like that.
Yeah, summertime we're doing a lot of outdoor pool parties.
I'm excited.
And stuff like that. So we're doing a lot of we're dancing every week, but right now
Sure.
our main event is happening. But we have dancing every night in our studio. We have Thursdays. We have beginning
There you
bachata classes. We have intermediate. That's where Sean comes. We have classes every night. Group classes on Sundays. Where I met Sean was a boot camp. That's where there's 3 hours of one dance from 2 to 5. And that happens every other month. So there's so many different ways. If you're interested, you could kind of see our website and you could kind of find out what you want, or you could message Amber and she can give you any information on what you want to.
Shout out to Amber.
Whatever you could do. Yeah.
She's very helpful and kind.
Very helpful. Yeah. Does all that stuff.
We see you, Amber.
Yeah.
No, honestly, I think you came on and you blessed the show. And I really appreciate that. And I think your insight and your story is going to make an impact on people's lives. And I thank you for your openness and your vulnerability in that.
Thank you.
I look forward to learning more from you and being able to share more of dancing with the people I know around me. So that's good for me.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe if you can and like and share. And if you're listening, try to give this a rating and review as well, and share with a friend, because it helps the podcast out. And we want to make an impact, and we want to help people live in victory and in wholeness and confidence. And I think people like Jeff, who's doing that now, it's awesome to hear what he has to say. So thank you for listening to Walk in Victory. Hope you have a blessed day.